What's going on, everybody? This is Jeff with Altcoin Buzz. Today I'm going to make a video to talk about being flexible in these market conditions and the importance of flexibility in investing in cryptocurrency, but pretty much everything that I've ever done in tech has required me to be flexible, and I'll explain why. First and foremost, if you are just now checking into our podcast, we actually have a separate channel for this. It's called Altcoin Buzz Podcast. I don't know if I put that out there, but in the podcast, those are different videos than what we have with the Altcoin Buzz channel that you're subscribed to here. So if you like our podcast, you guys were saying that you wanted it on YouTube instead of on iTunes. We also have it on iTunes, where you can click on that on our Altcoin Buzz Apple Store right here, which is the link. But yeah, also we have the links to our social media right here if you wanted to check up on that. That's on Altcoin Buzz IO on Twitter. But I wanted to talk about this flexibility stuff because that's at least been my experience. Now, as you know, I'm just a guy you guys tune in to get the conversation started. I'm not a professional financial advisor. Never have I claimed to be a professional financial advisor. I never said, "Hey, sign this contract. Let's get this going." You guys tune into this to get information about cryptocurrency for intellectual entertainment is what I would consider it, right? And I'm not saying I'm an extreme intellectual, but you get the point. Just because there is a lot of confusion, I know some of you are like, "Jeff, why do you have to keep explaining yourself?" But believe it or not, guys, there's people out there who get confused and they jump to conclusions. So we're just trying to iron out all these things to get on the same page. And at the end of the day, I'm going to say be flexible. This market swings really quickly. You can see, 1 second, February 5th, we're in the tanks, $282 billion. Next thing you know, we're sitting at $385 billion within the span of a short time. I mean, we did that in, what, 279 on the 5th, on Monday. By Tuesday, we're sitting at 353. I mean, the market moves quite quickly. That's a lot of billions, right? And until we get over $1 trillion, if we ever get there, that's a lot of money. That's a big impact. So flexibility, what does that mean? Well, that means that if for example, I put this out there, I said on Blockchain J, I said, my primary core thought is HODL, right? And what I mean by that is, let's see here. Where did I put that? So people ask me about taxes and cryptocurrency. I said, I HODL. Taxation is more friendly to hodlers than day traders. That's basically my strategy. Hope that clears that up. So what do I mean by that? Well, if you didn't know, the government, the U.S. government, has a policy in place that says if you hold cryptocurrency for longer than a year, you take less of a tax hit than if you were to consistently trade positions, right? So once you take out a position in, I don't know, Cardano at 31 cents, like some of you did this last time around, maybe take the thought, hey, I'm going to hodl this thing. But what do I mean by, now where does flexibility play into this? Well, here's where the angle on flexibility comes in. If Cardano goes up to $7 and you bought in at 31 cents and you think that Cardano is reaching a peak and you say, well, I know there's going to be a tax hit on me right here, and I know that my core mentality is hodl, but I might at certain times where this is, I don't know, maybe 15 times gains, whatever the math is at $7. I don't have a calculator in front of me, and I know I'm not very good with that math in my head. I don't think that fast with that. But some of you can do the math on that. Yeah, I might take profit at $7 on Cardano and realize that at the end of the year I'm going to have to pay the piper. Uncle Sam's going to want his share. But we saw that same thing happen with Tron. Some of you guys bought into Tron at a penny. We were talking about Tron at 2 cents, 3 cents, and then it went up to 28 cents. In that case, you could notice that Tron was reaching a peak on that particular bull run, and you might have sold, which I did, and people were saying, well, why did you sell? And I was thinking to myself, I was like, Well, I'm at the end of the day, I'm flexible. I have the mentality that I gotta hodl this stuff for as long as it takes, whether it goes down or up. See, because right now, Bitcoin, the last time I bought Bitcoin here recently was $7,200. I didn't buy a full Bitcoin. I bought a portion of a Bitcoin, and I took half of that Bitcoin when it went up, and I forked it into some of my altcoin positions that I was looking to get into. And I'll just tell you, I jumped into Icon and I jumped into Nano below $10. So that's what I did. But I also held a lot of that Bitcoin, just set it aside. Now, if Bitcoin goes below 7,200 and let's say it goes to 5,000, I'm not freaking out because my core position in my mind is HODL. You know what I mean? Like, people are like, oh man, don't tell people to buy at 7,200. I'm like, why not? We don't know where this market's going to go. I don't know if it's going to 4,000 with Bitcoin. I don't know if it's going to 14,000 in the next 2 weeks. It could go either which way. But what I'm saying is that because I have the mentality that I'm not trying to trade that position anytime soon, I'm okay with it because I feel as though personally that the market will go up, in particular from what the projections of experts are saying, not just me, okay? Because, I mean, I have to go out there and get analysis myself. If I'm not doing my own due diligence on my end, the research that I encourage all you guys to do, sure, you can listen to this for intellectual and entertainment, but what we also like to do is we go out there and do our own additional research, whether it's listening to Trace Meyer, Andres Andropoulos, who knows, Joe Rogan, Crypto Lark, Superman. I mean, we're getting a whole bunch of information. We're out there doing research and seeing what other people are saying in the industry, right? And that's why I say that stuff, but also adding that element of flexibility that I believe is so important. If you don't want to get stuck in a situation where you're like, well, I'm sitting at 25 times gains. I know this is probably going to peak, and but because of taxes, I can't sell because I have to hodl. So what I'm saying is, in certain circumstances, you might consider selling when you've got these 20 times gains, even though you know that tax ramification might be there. But don't get too tied up on the fact that, hey, I'm not saying you have to do that. I'm saying that you as an individual have that right to make that executive decision. That's the mentality. It's like, you might not be the executive of Apple or Google or Microsoft, but you're the executive of your own bank account. And if you think like an executive and you make executive decisions, that's a pretty powerful situation to be in, right? So that's my take on flexibility and HODL. So be flexible, but HODL. The HODL, if you take that HODL core position, that HODL mentality, when the market goes down, you're like, well, it's going down. I might consider buying more, but because I already have the mentality that I have to HODL, you're not going to be so emotionally attached when it goes down. If anything, you're going to be like, well, another buying opportunity is coming up because I never intended to sell this in the short term anyway. That's kind of the mentality. But also, this is really important. Never invest more than you can afford to lose, right? That's why we always say, people are saying they're putting in 10 to 20%. Let's take a look at John McAfee. Okay, I know a lot of you guys have varying opinions, but he put out these polls today. Just check these polls out. You can get so much information because he's got what? I mean, he's got how many followers? It doesn't really matter, but I know it's over 700,000. But just look at the results on these polls. How would you classify yourself? A student, technical, financial, other? So I voted. I said I'm technical. Okay, but I guess they show the check mark for what you did. But this gives you an idea of what the people in the cryptocurrency industry are like. Most of them are students. What's been your greatest obstacle to buying crypto? I remember when I was first getting in, it was registering with the exchanges, and that's what most of you guys said. Some of you guys are saying the fear. No clue where to start, having been burned. What do you believe possesses the greatest threat to crypto? I was stuck with governments, but I wanted to say also what I said on my last tweet, which was that I felt like innovation, the lack of innovation that was occurring in the industry was a threat. Now, people can agree with me or disagree, and I mean, if you're going to disagree, I would appreciate that you say something more intellectual than that's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard, blah, blah, blah. I just don't understand how people just rattle off like that. Like, that's so ill. That's not even logical. It's not even rational. I can't rationalize with someone who doesn't formulate a correct thought that goes in a direction of intelligent processing. But it's whatever. Oh, I didn't vote here. What describes your firm belief? Crypto will replace fiat. Fiat will coexist. That's the one that I'm going to go with. Yeah, okay, that's the majority's answer. Fifth poll, what is your primary use for cryptocurrencies? I think I was just wanting to get the answer to see what people said, but as a currency to buy and sell. What I meant to say was both investment and currency. That's what I wanted to say this one, but I accidentally clicked on that. Fourth poll, what percentage of your assets is in cryptocurrency? I said, okay, that's, I guess, divulging too much information, but I always say to you guys, put no more than 10% in there, but as you can see, I do have 11 to 25% of my assets in there. But I wouldn't recommend, if you're a newbie, I wouldn't recommend going over 10% for sure. So I think this being the number one is pretty good, especially for newbies. Don't overcommit yourself, but you can see, I guess, the cat's out of the bag here. I'm between 11 and 25%. I'd say I'm more at like, yeah, anyways, it doesn't matter. Where is your primary interest in cryptocurrencies? I said alt currencies, okay? But yeah, that was the number one. Second poll, how often do you buy or sell cryptocurrencies? I do tend to get into a position at least once a week. There was times where I was probably getting into a position daily, but I'm more at like once a week. But I would like to get to a point where it's less. It's once a month or less. You know, that's kind of where I'd like to be. At some point, if I can get there mentally. But I'm always trying to get it. I'm always seeing new opportunities, so I jump in there. That's just my personal. Okay, I'm entitled to have my own personal thoughts. If it influences you, that's not. That's like saying, well, I saw a guy on the street that had a cool hat, so I got to go down to FlexFit and go buy the new hat. No, if I choose to do that, it's because I made that choice, not because that man is guilty of talking me into it or showing me that he's got a cool hat. I mean, if I see someone wearing a Far Vikings jersey, doesn't mean I got to go out and buy it and blame the guy that got it, that's wearing it, that influenced me to get it. That just doesn't make sense, because that again comes down to the accountability. Like, no one's forcing you to do anything, and once you can come to terms with that, that's a really, I mean, we keep saying that, but that's a really powerful position to be in, is that you make your own decisions. You make your own executive decisions. You're the head of the household. Jeff is not the head of your household. Superman is not the head of your household. Okay? Donald Trump is not even the head of your household, although he has a lot more influence on what goes on in your house than I do. But who are we? I'm doing a series of polls to discover exactly what the composition of the crypto community is composed of. This is the first poll. What is your age? I'm between 31 and 50, but it looks like most of you are truly millennials. I mean, millennials are the ones here. So anyways, looks like the worst is over. That was a hell of a ride. One of the best declines I've ever experienced. Now watch the bounce. For everyone who held, and hopefully that is overwhelming majority of us, the rise should be just as spectacular. Okay, so I'm happy to hear that. But yeah, if we just look at what I said on here, Blockchain J, I said this. So there was some confusion. I said extended euphoria, time to sell. Whenever I see that, I know what time it is. I made a video about this on January 8th in case you missed it. Yes, I did make this video on January 8th. And I will show you. Which is crazy, because I got so much like disdain from people saying that I was flooding. But what it was I was trying to understand the bubble. And I was putting this out there. Actually, this was January 7th. And if we look at the market on the 7th, because I was studying how the market can tend to perform, it's crazy. And this is not, I'm not crediting myself with having any sort of great intuition, but it's just ironic that on January 7th, we had hit the bubble. And to any of you guys out there who think that, oh, Jeff popped the bubble, that would be probably the most ludicrous and preposterous thing you could ever say, being that how many people even watch this video? 52,000. And at the time, this got more views after the bubble had popped. So no, YouTubers don't pop bubbles. Billionaires don't watch YouTube. Newsflash, in case you didn't know. And there might be $1 billion of investment capital tied up in some of these YouTube audiences. That's my assessment. I'm not trying to be mean to you guys, but come on, man. Seriously, this stuff, some of it's like beyond common sense. If you even get to a point where you're like, yeah, I think that kind of makes sense, actually. I don't think that Junior over here has more than $150 invested in anything. And I've even talked to some of you guys personally. You guys be like, oh, well, I put in $33 and what are you know, I got $33 invested in Tron. Like, that's what I hear from a lot of the people under 30. It's not like you guys are big balling out there in this audience watching these videos. So when I put out this video, it was cryptocurrency bubble signals to be informed about. I wasn't trying to FUD anything. All I was saying was, yeah, after doing some research, I discovered that there was some stuff that appeared bubbly, right? And the profit taking that happened. But this was what it was. This is the point that I'm trying to point out, the euphoria. When everyone around you is like, yeah, cryptocurrency, it's the new bee's knees. Next time we see that, that's that euphoria thing that we have to be cautious about. And I'm saying that to the experienced investors, the wise ones out in the crowds. The ones who hear that and it goes in one ear and out the other, then they don't need to hear it because they'll never hear anything other than what they want to hear. But when you start seeing the euphoria, okay, that's this right here. During this phase, caution is thrown to the wind as asset prices skyrocket. The greater fool theory plays out. This was on Investopedia. So we reviewed that there. Anyways, guys, I did put that out, but there was some confusion. People were saying, oh, are you seeing euphoria now? And I'm saying, well, it's not about what Jeff is seeing. It's about what are you seeing? Are you seeing euphoria playing out on the streets? And I'm saying, well, I don't think there's euphoria on the streets, but I do know that when I start seeing mass euphoria out there, that's usually a sign that it might be time to maybe even cash out. Even though I have a HODL mentality, right? But because I'm flexible. That's the thing. That's why I've stretched that. I have the hodler's mentality, but I'm also flexible in the event of certain circumstances that appear to be popping up. That's the point that I'm trying to make, okay? So I hope that clears the air with you guys. Love y'all. No hate, no disdain. This is a little bit of a rant, but I'm just putting out some information to kind of clear the air because I feel like that's what needed to be done. Like I said, subscribe to our podcast channel, Altcoin Buzz Podcast, if you like podcasts. Subscribe to this channel, Altcoin Buzz, and you can click the bell. Let me see. Did I click the bell here? I'll click the bell on our channel. So you just click that little bell right there. Anyways, guys, it's Jeff. Thanks to everyone who's been keeping up with us, and we'll see you next time.